It's been going on for nearly 9 months now, but the end is near and we're getting excited.
Of course, we're talking about our hardneck garlic. This is the final stretch, and the bulbs have never been so close.
For such a long crop, it's relatively low maintenance. Not quite plant and forget it completely, but almost. There are, however, a few key things that we can do right now to ensure that we get the largest harvest possible.
Hi, I'm Jeff from the Ripe Tomato Farms. Welcome back to another episode of the Garden Quickie, the show where in 2 minutes or less, after all these years, we're still garlic obsessed.
Because today's episode is all about it. Specifically, what do we need to do down the final stretch to get the most out of our garlic harvest? I got 4 things, time's short, so let's dive in. Hardneck garlic is a unique crop in that it needs to overwinter in the ground to trigger the formation of a bulb the following summer. As such, it's an extremely long crop to grow, and you'd think that there'd be a lot of things that could go wrong.
Actually, though, hardneck garlic is pretty trouble-free. In fact, it's pretty hard not to get a harvest from these guys. However, we don't just want a harvest. We want the best harvest. And for hardneck garlic, that starts with getting rid of the scapes.
The scapes are the edible flowers of hardneck garlic that appear in the late spring when the foliage has reached its full height.
Cool and tasty, but they still gotta go. They're a drain on the plants and thus the developing bulbs. You gotta get rid of the scapes, especially at this critical time.
Cut off your scapes right down to the base when they start to bend and curl and are about pencil thickness.
Next, we gotta stay on top of those weeds.
This has been an ongoing procedure, but if you mulched and weeded diligently in the spring, this is no big deal. Still, keep that garlic clear and clean of any competition if you want to get those really big bulbs.
This is because weeds compete for the 2 biggest resources, water and nutrients.
Garlic needs the surrounding soil to stay consistently moist if we want those bulbs to develop properly. However, it should never be soaking wet. As well, stop all watering at least 2 weeks before the intended harvest because we need to pull those garlic bulbs dry if we want to cure them properly. With feeding and fertilizing, garlic only ever needs to be fed twice in its entire life cycle. The first of those times is in the early spring, and the next time is right now. Any balanced liquid fertilizer will do, and if you can, maybe skew a bit higher in nitrogen. All feedings, however, need to be stopped at least a month before the harvest. Excess nutrients in the soil close to the harvest date will most certainly negatively affect the bulbs.
Know what won't negatively affect those bulbs? Making sure to check out the next episode of the Garden Quickie.
Thanks for watching, guys. And hey, if garden quickies are your thing, make sure to subscribe and click on this playlist here as we explore and solve more growing issues in 2 minutes or less.